What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Let's Talk Live podcast. It's Saturday night, September 23rd, right? Oh, it is 2023, 23. Welcome everybody in. I see the chat is filling in. I hope everybody had an amazing Saturday. Yes, it is Saturday. It's not Sunday, because you could say Sunday fun day. So it's like Saturday. I don't know. What do we say? Super Saturday. But anyway, I thought we would do something a little fun tonight. It actually was a little bit of a hit last night during my 3-hour members only. And if you missed that and you're a member, you need to go back and check out that 3-hour members only. I let a lot of personal stuff out last night. We had some laughs. We had some fun. And then at the end of the night, we were playing Courtroom Drama. And I thought that would be great to get into. So I thought we can make a live show out of this evening. So we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. Let our hair down. I don't have any hair, but let our hair back down. Have a few laughs this evening. And, we all love Courtroom Drama. So we'll get into those videos here in a minute. But what I want to do first is just explain something to everybody, because everybody goes, you always complain. You always complain about everything. You always just that. Well, yeah, I do, because I'm a smaller channel and I need to fight for every single view that I can. And I want to show everybody an example of something. So I'm not picking on this channel, but I'm just going to use this channel as a example right now. So there's a channel that I love. His channel name is Penguins Zero. And I absolutely love this channel. This guy's hilarious, makes great content. But I want to show you something. So here's an example. He did a video on the botched police chase the other day, where the guy actually did the pirouette and the somersault. Okay. So he's got 13.8 million subscribers. He dropped this video an hour ago. He already has 128,000 views on it. 128,000 views. So definitely has an advantage over my channel. Subscriber to view rate is much greater. And this is why I always laugh, because I watch these creators that talk about improving your YouTube channel. And there's quite a few of them out there. And there's a couple of them that really always come up in my algorithm. And they always say that if you want to start a YouTube channels, in 2023, subscribers don't mean anything. I still think that's complete bullshit. And I'll say why I think it's complete bullshit. I'm probably already going to get a strike already. Let me see, because I just said bullshit before 10 minutes in. Did you get a strike? Let me look. Hang on a second. Let me use some housekeeping so I can put this into review already. But I want to talk about this subscriber thing. How they always say subscribers are not important. I'm going to tell you why they are important. Oh, wow. I didn't actually get a strike yet. So I want to talk about subscribers and why subscribers are important and why interaction is important on the channel. And I always say this, please go back and interact. You're a subscriber to the channel, you come to the lives. Most important thing is, if I ever upload a video, please interact with it some way. Try to get through the entire video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. It's the most important thing. So if you look at this video within an hour, and I'll refresh it really quick. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get nailed. Okay, he's got 145,000 views on that in an hour. He dropped that an hour ago. Okay. So here's my point on subscribers. They say, oh, subscribers are not important. Subscribers are super, super important, because if you are subscribed to a channel and you interact on that video, and it's all about interaction on a video. So if I drop a video, I make a video, I have a live, the more interaction I get on that video, and it's true. I mean, I have 3 or 4 videos that have close to 100,000 views. The more interaction you have on that video, the more it gets pushed to the algorithm. That's why I always laugh when they go, subscribers don't mean anything. It does, because those are the people that are solely that want to be focused on your channel. So if they see a video that drops and they come into it and they interact, you start getting that initial burn on that video. So it starts creating some excitement. The algorithm goes, oh, well, maybe this is something that should be worth pushing. And they're going to push it. And then it's going to get to the next person and the next person, next person. So I just want to talk about that. I think that these channels that do these self-improve your YouTube channel, when they say subscribers don't mean anything, it does. I think it's very important. So subscribers and interaction. And that's why I always say, if you can make a live stream, come to the live stream, interact on it. Even if you can make it in the chat 2 or 3 minutes, just show that initial interaction. If I drop a video, interact on that video. It's going to help push this channel out and keep it going. So there's my tirade. There's my pitch. If you want to call it a tirade, if you want to call it a pitch, but I just wanted to make a general point overall. So now getting into the heart of the show. I want to just have some fun tonight. We'll let our hair down a little bit, have a couple of laughs. And I thought it'd be nice to bring up some judge explosions, some courtroom outbursts, and then just some weird and wacky things that have happened during trials. What I want to start with first, and I'm not sure if you've all seen this video before, but this deposition is amazing. There's quite a few of them out there, but this one I really love. And just listening to the way that the lawyer reacts in this is just mwah. Also, another kind of weird fact about this, the lawyer that is off camera that is objecting actually passed away in like a weird hit and run accident, which is really strange. And I don't want to say like karma or anything, because I don't believe that anybody deserves anything like that, but just really weird stuff. So we'll play this. Really funny. And I always get a kick out of this when I play this one. So we got quite a few videos we'll do this evening. I think we can have some fun with this. So we'll take it away. It's from a deposition. Angry lawyer goes off the deep end.
Thanks for telling me the questions I should ask. We'll have your opportunity at the end.
So before I get into this too, the funny thing is, this guy here, watch his face through the entire thing. It's amazing. It's so funny. This guy is so funny. He wants to just laugh, and he just keeps holding it back.
Could ask. We'll have your opportunity at the end.
Just shut up and move on with your questions, okay?
Mr. Curry.
Just shut up, or I'll adjourn this deposition, and you can tell it to the judge, or I'll get you some tissues and you can cry.
Mr. Curry.
All right?
Please don't tell me what to do.
You asked him if he ever spoke with Farsh about anything. He said no. Now you're asking him to tell you what Farsh told him. It is a bullshit question. It is absolutely speculative, no foundation or anything else. Now, he's entitled to a fair question. You told him that. So if you're going to sit there and ask unfair questions, I'm going to correct them. So I don't waste this guy's time having to come back or go to trial and undo the mess that you're trying to create. Got me?
Are you finished?
Are you finished?
Are you
Do you understand the question?
Are you aware of the local rules with
Foster?
regard to what objections you're allowed to make and what?
Do you understand the question, Mr. Foster?
Sir, right now this is my witness. I get to ask the questions. You get to make objections only. There are 2 types of objections you can make. Objections.
Call the bailiff.
Sir.
Do you understand the question being asked, Mr.
Mr.
Foster?
Curry.
Don't ever presume that you get
I
to
did,
tell
Mindy.
me
I
what to
responded.
do.
I don't know if you
or
got the
when to do it,
response, but
Counselor.
thank you. Very,
Don't
very
you
cool.
ever presume.
Yeah, at NAM, I saw
Why
that.
Foster,
you be
this is
entitled-
your deposition.
Thank
Do
you.
you understand the
I
question?
wrote
Why
back.
should you
I
be
don't know if you
entitled
got
to
it.
then tell me what to do? Doesn't it go both ways?
Because I'm being straight with the guy and you're being not straight with the guy. That's why. He has no dog in this fight.
Are you finished giving your opinions now about
He has
the
no
question?
dog in this fight, and you're trying to get him to say things that are simply untrue. It's an old trick, Mr. Zohar.
You don't think you're
Okay.
trying to coach the witness right now?
I'm telling him what the question is so he can answer it.
Do you know what speaking objections are?
Don't lecture me, idiot. I'm telling you I'm not gonna let that happen. Okay? You got me? Do
I
we
wanna
understand
know
each other?
if you
Are
understand the
we
rules.
connecting here? Because
I'm
if we're
trying
not
to
connecting
proceed.
here, I will try again. Okay? Don't give me local rules. Don't give me procedures. Don't give me professionalism. Just put a fair question to the witness. And if you're not going to do that, then I am. We understand each other?
If you believe that a question that I ask is not proper, then you get to pose a valid objection. You're not allowed to make speaking objections. You're not allowed to give your
Don't lecture me,
opinions.
puppy. Don't lecture me. I was doing this when you were still chasing cheerleaders. Don't you even think about lecturing me about depositions.
I think you're practicing a few
So-
years more than me, actually.
I just love watching the witness, or actually the person that's sitting for the deposition, because you can tell he's totally holding back and trying not to laugh. It's just really, really great stuff. So let's recognize this. Hey, Richie, thank you so much. 2 months. Yes, 2 months. Thank you for your generous donation to the channel, for being a channel member for the last 2 months. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for your support. This will be fun. I think this will be fun. And, maybe we can do a little bit more of these in the future. It was really great. It was a great hit last night in the members only. And if you missed the members only, I would encourage you, go down there, hit the join button, support the channel. And my memberships literally start at $1.99, $1.99. And I throw out free memberships all the time. Maybe I'll throw some out tonight, but I throw them out all the time. And that is to encourage to get, it's 1 month free on me, and you get access to all the content. And then when it ends, you can just start it back up again. And that's $1.99. $1.99 is less than the price of a Starbucks coffee. I really would appreciate it. So let's keep playing through this. This is really good stuff.
So
that's it,
So
to be honest with you.
do you understand the question?
Mr. Curry,
Let's have the question right
it is
back,
my
please.
desire to follow the rules. If you don't believe we should be following the rules, then maybe you need to explain to me what procedure we are supposed to follow.
Now, do you think that there's anything wrong with adding Testmaster students who you met only by virtue of your employment at Testmasters to a prospective client file for your competing company?
Would you read the question back, please?
Now, do you think that there's anything wrong with adding Testmaster students who met only by virtue of your employment at Testmasters to a prospective client file for your competing company?
Object to the
Hey,
question.
Chosen,
There's
how
no
are you, man?
foundation.
Hope
Calls
you're
for
well. Hope you're well.
speculation.
Good to see you here, man.
Seeks a legal conclusion. It's argumentative.
Good to see you,
I'm
bud.
instructing the witness not to answer.
Good to see you.
Mr. Tatey, do you think that it would be improper for you to copy your employer's course material while you're a Testmasters instructor and use it for a competing business?
Same objections, same instruction.
So as we sit here today, you don't know whether or not it's a true statement that as of March 30th, 2005, Blueprint had not yet finished the writing and production of its LSAT course.
Objection, argumentative. Also invades the attorney-client
Excuse me.
privilege and the work product doctrine. Instructed not to answer.
Do you deny, Mr. Tatey, that as of January 12th of 2005,
Yeah, I'll
that Matt
do it after
Riley
the
was
show,
a
Minnie, I
Blueprint
promise.
partner?
Objection, same objections, same instruction.
Mr. Curry, this goes to the very heart of the case here, and I'd ask you to reconsider your instruction and allow Mr. Tatey to answer this very simple fundamental question.
I've reconsidered. The answer is no.
Can you rule out the possibility that Matthew Riley was a Blueprint partner while he was still teaching for Testmasters?
Same objection, same instruction.
Do you deny that Matthew Riley was a Blueprint partner at the same time that he was teaching Testmasters classes?
Same objection, same instruction.
Do you deny that Matt Riley was working on the Blueprint website while he was still teaching classes for test masters?
Objection, it's argumentative, calls for speculation, there's no foundation, instruct the witness not to answer.
And can you say with certainty that Mr. McCarthy did not help in any way in helping Blueprint create the course material?
Objection, calls for speculation, no foundation, it's argumentative, instruct the witness not to answer.
Do you deny that Courtney Martin was working for Blueprint on its website while she was a test master's instructor?
Objection, same objection, same instruction.
Were you trying to get Courtney Martin to do work for Blueprint while she was a test master's employee?
Objection, vague and ambiguous. You can answer if you understand the question.
I don't believe that I was.
Do you deny that you were?
Objection, Ashton answered. Argumentative, no foundation, calls for speculation, instruct the witness not to answer.
Now, why around this time period did you want to damage Robin Singh?
Objection, calls for speculation, no foundation, it's argumentative, instruct him not to answer as phrased. Okay, that's it.
Well,
Thank you.
let me.
I love this part too. When they're getting up and the other lawyer is trying to make a record on the case, they literally just get up and he's collecting all their stuff. This guy has like a cookie with him. It's hilarious. And they're just walking away. And then you get to hear his attorney at the end, what he says to the other attorney on the record.
No, we're done.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not asking any more questions. I want to make a record here, if I may,
This is
Mr.
great.
Curry. I think that your instructions not to answer numerous questions are improper and unfortunate, particularly in light of these new documents that were just discovered. The judges repeatedly suggested that we should, there's a likelihood of having follow-on discovery after e-discovery. I think that it's improper, and I think that you're obstructing our ability to get to the bottom of these critical and highly damaging documents. And I'd like to put you on notice that if you don't allow us to continue to ask questions now or at a subsequent time, that we believe that you will be obstructing
Look at the cell phone. This is 2007. Look at the cell phone. Watch the cell phone. This black cell phone right here. Look how big they were back then. It's hilarious.
continue to ask questions now or at a subsequent time, that we believe that you will be obstructing
Look at the cell phone.
our ability to obtain
It's like a
evidence
Nokia.
about improper discovery abuses by your client, and that you will be aiding and abetting in those discovery abuses. I ask you to reconsider and permit us to ask Mr. Tatey these questions.
Right
Take
here.
your threats and put them where you know better.
I'm not
We're
making
done.
threats.
Yes, you
Mr.
are. Just tell it to this. Somebody cares. See you Wednesday. Same step and my usual orders. Thank you.
Hit, and then if you miss it, it's very low. The other lawyer goes, "What an asshole." It's so good. All right, let's move on here. Let's do this one. What do I got? Top funniest court moments in high profile trials. We'll do this one first from Law and Crime Network. Here we go. It's a good one.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
A mega pint.
I'm winging it, Your Honor.
Did you smoke before you came here today?
I did not.
I have
I should have.
Sometimes you just can't help but laugh at absurd moments in court. From attorneys to defendants to witnesses and even jurors, you just never know what someone is going to do or say. Here are just a few examples of the law's lighter moments. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So I don't need to tell you that courtrooms are very serious places. It's where judges and juries, they decide the fates of people accused of some of the worst crimes imaginable. We hear some incredibly difficult testimony. We see some horrifying evidence. There's no denying that. But despite that, sometimes there are moments of levity. There are moments that are just funny, and they usually come out of nowhere. They're unexpected. So we wanted to do something a little bit different here. We wanted to recap 6 of some of the funniest courtroom moments from recent cases. And you can't talk about hilarious courtroom annex without talking about the case of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. The weeks-long trial was full of quips and comebacks.
Her name was trending on Twitter today. Again, people are still talking about her. She was trending on Twitter today. Unbelievable.
Jokes, especially from the man of the hour, actor Johnny Depp. I was in that courtroom out in Virginia for a large part of that trial. I was covering it for us here on Long Crime. So
listen, I'll go into this a little bit. I think that both of them were extremely toxic to each other in that relationship. Now, whether I can't say, you know, I don't want to say this in the wrong way, who knocked around each other more, but I think that it was honestly, in my opinion, it was on both sides. Because the video that scared me when I saw it, and believe me, I think she fed into a lot of the behavior, but I think that there was behavior on the other side as well, too, that was very violent. And everybody may not agree with me here, but the video, and I'm just going to say this, the video that scared me was the one that she shot of him in the kitchen and he threw that wine bottle. That's violent. That's violence. In any way that you want to put it, that is violence. And I think they were just two completely, energy that just collided and caused a lot of shit, if you want to put it that way. And it just got really ugly in this case. You know, it got really ugly. But bottom line, I think they were both, violent in the relationship. And that's how I feel. I'm not saying like he's an abuser or anything like that. I just think that they were not good for each other, if you want to say that. I think they both were I think Bella's got it right. Both abrasive people. I think they both probably whacked each other around, because that was the video that did it for me, even though I think she secretly recorded or whatever, but still he threw something. He threw a bottle. Like, that's violent behavior. I mean, that's alcohol induced violent behavior. And, again, we have no evidence that that there was any abuse and all that. That was all settled in the court case, but that was just my opinion of the whole thing. But anyway, we'll play this.
I saw and heard some of this firsthand. Now, a little bit of a recap here. So Depp had sued his ex-wife, Amber Heard, an actress, for defamation after she wrote an op-ed piece for the Washington Post claiming that she was a domestic abuse survivor. Depp argued that although he wasn't named in the article per se, the op-ed was clearly about him. He said that the false claims damaged his reputation. It cost him acting roles that would have furthered his career. And Heard ended up countersuing Johnny Depp for statements that were made on what she argued was his behalf by his attorney, Adam Waldman. Statements like her claims were a total hoax. And so you have this back and forth between two Hollywood stars. And the question is, who do you believe? What happened? Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Even though we are dealing with serious subject matter, we're dealing with abuse claims, there were just moments that were comical. Like when a witness was brutally honest.
You are a pretty big fan of Johnny Depp, aren't you?
I am not, to be honest.
Or when a witness gave a very blunt response.
And Mr. Depp was trying to urinate in the foyer, wasn't he?
No.
Mr. Depp had his penis out of his
Objection.
pants, didn't he?
I think I would remember.
Relevance.
Mr. Depp,
I'll allow. Next question.
Or when a witness
this
that used
guy.
to work at the front desk of a building where Depp and Heard lived actually drove in his car and vaped during his videotaped deposition testimony. Never saw anything like that one before. And I'll tell you, his comments were pretty funny.
That's awesome.
But in fact, you don't recall seeing Amber Heard on May 24th, correct?
I don't remember. I don't even remember what I got for breakfast. They come down. They say, somebody try to get into my unit. There's scratches on my door. And like, I'm really sorry, but who will think is going to get into your unit because they saw some scratches on the door, like, 4 inches above the door because the dog was scratching the door, was trying to get in, and they thought about someone trying to break into the unit.
But during the trial, it seems that some of the more memorable comical moments came from when Johnny Depp took the stand. And that's,
Yeah, I wanted to kind of have a little fun tonight. Saturday night fun. Yes, we're dealing with very serious subject matters, of course, but there's some things that come out in court that are like, it's just funny. It's funny.
the moment that we want to focus on, because his back and forth, particularly with Heard's defense attorney when he was being cross-examined, it brought out the laughter, including these wisecracks that were so quick. You really have to pay attention to what Johnny Depp was saying. Take a listen to a combination of some of this back and forth.
And you may have been drunk in that video, correct?
There's a possibility of that, yes, sir.
You poured yourself a mega pint of red wine, correct?
A mega pint.
Yeah.
I poured myself a large glass of wine.
Right.
I thought it necessary. I once gave Marilyn Manson a pill so that he would stop talking so much. Yes, it's a stack of hit pieces.
Yes, the first one is called
by Ms. Heard's publicity team.
Mr. Depp, we're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible.
I'm
And the next article is an article from May 7th, 2016. It's entitled "Johnny Depp: Friends and Family Seriously Concerned About Him. Here's Why."
Yes.
Correct?
How did they know?
The
How
next
my financial
article,
woes would do
May
that.
25th, 2017, a year and a half before the op-ed was published. An article entitled.
Can I just ask a serious question without being biased in the room? And because we have a lot of ladies in the room, and I just want to see. So I talked about a couple of minutes ago about that I thought that they were both very toxic in the relationship, and there may have been, there may have been some domestic violence on both sides. I don't know. I can't prove that, but I'm just saying. Do you think that people supported Depp more in this because he was more popular? Could that be a possibility? Because I noticed like everybody went after, and now listen, I'm not saying that she's right or wrong. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but I'm just curious to think what people, because I noticed like there was an over amount of tremendous support through the whole trial just for Depp. Okay. Could it be that because he's such a megastar and we've seen him in his popularity, because again, the video that scared me was the video in the kitchen when he threw that bottle. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. But maybe that's why he got a little bit more support. And again, I think that she lied about some stuff. I think maybe there's some things that were probably true. I'm kind of split down the middle. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I'm kind of split down the middle. So, let's see. In some ways, Frazier says, in some ways, yes. Fran said no. I think it wouldn't matter in my opinion. Phil says she looked like a liar. Deb thinks that she's a narcissist. People shredded him when it first came out. He got canceled, so I don't think that's it. Okay. The fake crying. Crafty Mama says, I watched the trial and I will say popularity was not the focus for me. I believe that she was a manipulator and did a lot of fake tears. Okay. Johnny 5, she pooped on his side of the bed. Yep, we heard about that. Rogue says, I think it was Amber's obvious lies and laughing and smirking during the court trial. Bella said, I wasn't on either side. Once the trial came, it put a light on their lives. Absolutely. Dina says, I never believed her. Let's see. She did it to herself in court. Okay. Given what he went through, the cancel things, I don't think so. Sandy says he got a lot of support because he fought back, didn't just accept it. She had many inconsistencies in the story and behavior. TMZ released the bottle clip. I was against him until I saw the evidence of her actions. But do you think that, what I'm saying though, does it still hold some concerns that someone is violent like that and throws a bottle against the wall? That's violence. I mean, that's violence. Why I don't understand why people excuse that video. To me, that is a violent behavior. It's a violent act. And that video got excused because they went, oh, well, she's making this stuff up. She's lying. And, you would do the same thing. But I mean, you're in a woman's presence. You've thrown something against the wall. I've lived through shit like that with my father and mother back in the day. That is violence. It's violence. So why did it get excused? That's what I'm saying. And again, I'm just posing questions. I'm not fighting. I'm just posing questions to the chat and just seeing what everybody thinks. But I just think it's a violent behavior. I've been there at a dinner table where my father has picked up a plate of food and thrown it against the wall. That is violent. That's violent behavior. It's not excusable. It's not excusable, in my opinion. So I don't think so. Let's see. I'm just seeing. I raised a lot of questions tonight. Everybody's all fired up now. No, she's a liar, abuser. Phil says, I watched every minute of the trial. My daughter was obsessed. Good evening. I'm 50-50 on them as well, since he's a big celebrity and he's good looking. He's more popular. Heard came off as a liar, but then again, they're both terrible to each other. It's a fair point, Kathy. Harlot says, I don't think it's just because Johnny Depp's more popular. It's because AD is psychotic and AH is psychotic. And if you listen to the recordings, you could tell that it was 99% her. Okay, fair enough. Let's not forget that Elon Musk has been saying about her too lately. Okay. Chica says, hey, I stepped on a B and she's lying. She's a fake person. Okay. I watched every minute of the trial. Amber threw the bottle. The video was after she stole a shit ton of money from him. No, he threw the bottle. He threw the wine glass. If you keep poking the bear, it's going to lash out eventually. So if someone is violent at home and they're sitting there and throw a plate up against the wall with food, is that poking the bear? She filmed it after she knew he found out about her stealing money. Sure, but that's still violent behavior. If I was in a room with you and I just picked up a wine glass or a bottle and threw it against the wall and started screaming, that's violent behavior. Totally violent behavior. It's an outlash. It's anger. Miss Krampus says it's violence, but even the least violent person can get pushed to a point. Also, just one video, and obviously she have documented more. If someone pooed on my side of the bed, I would throw a bottle too. Let's see. It's a loss of self-control. Okay, fair enough. It sliced up his finger and he had to hide to protect it. He threw the bottle into the trash. Can even see his home, not her. His purposely broke him. TMZ cut and smirking. Okay, fair enough. The fact he is admitting to his faults, however, she lied and did accept any fault. Okay, fair enough. She's manipulative. Her body language told a lot. Fair enough. When Depp and Rothenborn to read the comment again about the things that he'd like to do to Heard's throat, I laughed so hard. What was that? Sorry, this is something crazy that's happened on my street. Amber Heard is revolting. Okay, he threw it in the trash. His finger was severed. Room. Every person has their limits. Age pushed JD time and time again. I don't blame him. All right, so everybody says they're fine with that. Okay, cool.
Titled, Where Did
Just
It All
raising a
Go
question to
Wrong
see
for
what
Johnny
everybody
Depp? After a
feels
string
about
of
that.
flops and a ton of bad press, Johnny Depp's star power looks as wobbly as Jack Sparrow on a plank. Did I read that right?
You read that very, very well.
The next one, Hollywood Reporter, May 27th, 2017. Headline, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Diminishing Returns of Johnny Depp. Did I read that right?
You certainly did. Hollywood Reporter were very nice to me. He asked her what she would like for him to cook. That's hearsay, I guess.
Correct. I know, I just sure offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
He got it.
Okay, all right, well then.
I'm learning.
I gotta say, it was pretty entertaining. And I don't know, it seems like the jurors, they liked Depp on the stand because all comical moments aside, this was a trial about abuse. And in the end, jurors in Virginia agreed with Depp that Heard's abuse claims were false and defamatory, although they did believe that one of Waldman's comments made on Johnny Depp's behalf was defamatory against Amber Heard. So the jury awarded Depp more than $10 million
I think she
in
won some money
damages,
too.
but also $2 million for Amber Heard.
You know, we've all probably had a night out where we had one too many drinks.
Okay, I'm gonna fast forward this because this is a sponsored, and we're not sponsored by this. But if that company wants to reach out and sponsor me, please do. All right, Darrell Brooks, let's get into this one.
Stood trial for driving an SUV into a Christmas parade back in 2021, killing 6 people, injuring dozens of others. Horrible crime, changed the lives of so many people and also the community as a whole. Now, Brooks decided at one point in the case that he wanted to represent himself. You know what they say, the man who represents himself as a fool for a client. Brooks did a pretty good job of proving that. He didn't really understand most of the law. He argued with the judge. He threw fits in court. He even tried to call the entire state of Wisconsin as a witness. Throughout the trial between Brooks and the prosecution, there were reportedly more than 600 objections. And the prosecuting attorneys and the judge, they often clashed with the defendant. In fact, Judge Jennifer Darrow removed Brooks to a separate courtroom several times during the course of the trial so that he wouldn't interrupt court proceedings. He could still monitor what was going on. And, more shenanigans ensued, with Brooks sometimes taking off his shirt, building a fort out of evidence boxes, waving his arms so he could be seen on camera, refusing to wear the headphones so he could hear what was going on. Just incredible. Just incredible. Brooks, I should tell you, also identified as a sovereign citizen, meaning he doesn't acknowledge regular U.S. law as something that he's governed by. And several times he objected to even being called Darrell Brooks or Mr. Brooks. So with all that in mind, here's a sampling of some of his more ridiculous moments.
I'm winging it, Your Honor.
You can object, your objection's noted, but you need to let her state what she needs to state.
I don't see the relevance for this.
Your objection is noted, it's overruled.
Are you a party to this matter in any way?
Objection.
Grounds.
Irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained, it's not relevant.
Do you have a claim in this matter?
Objection, irrelevant.
Grounds.
Sustained.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Objection,
Grounds.
irrelevant. Not relevant, sustained.
Objection, I do not consent to being called that name, nor do I know any individual by that name, Your Honor. Objection, hearsay, and speculative.
It's neither one of those things.
Can we address the subject matter jurisdiction before the jury comes out? The jury comes out?
We've already done it.
And
This guy's a jerk. This guy just wanted to hold up and grandstand in front of everybody before he went away. This guy's a real jerk.
is that a judicial determination that you're making not to address the subject matter jurisdiction, which has yet to be proven at this point? It has not been
Mr.
verified.
Brooks, please, the jury's coming out.
We got to cut that out. You know you have to prove subject matter jurisdiction. You know that.
I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy.
So that had to be said. So it's
As a jerk.
That's not how it was said.
That was how I
completely
said. You want to run the
disagree.
record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one. I
Mr.
got one
Brooks.
ear that work, and I heard that.
This
Come on,
is
man.
Yeah, shocker. His legal arguments weren't that great. And it also didn't help that you had photographic and video proof that he was the driver of the car. And also eyewitnesses, too. Literally people on the stand saying,
That's
yeah,
a jerk.
I saw him driving the red SUV. Well, with all of his
Welcome in,
antics
everybody.
aside, Darrell Brooks was convicted.
Take a
on
moment and smash that like button when you come in. I really would appreciate it. We're just doing a little bit of a layback stream tonight. You know, watching some courtroom drama when judges explode, courtroom outbursts, and just weird and wacky trials. So thank you for being here.
all 76 charges, including 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide.
We
He's
get
handed down
50
6
likes.
life
I'm gonna
sentences
give away
in prison,
some
plus
memberships.
700 years. And he'll go down as being part of one of the more wild trials that we have covered on
right.
Law and Crime.
52, I love it.
Inside.
Let's get to a
Next, we're going to
hundo.
head to South Florida, where an up-and-coming young rapper is on trial for double murder. Jamel Demmons
Get
goes
to
by the
100
stage
likes
name
tonight.
YNW Melly. Police believe Melly shot and killed 2 of his best friends inside of an SUV
Boom,
in
new
2018
members.
as they were leaving a recording studio. I'm talking about fellow YNW group rappers Christopher Thomas Jr., or YNW Juvie. Investigators allege that Melly and another friend then staged the shooting to look like a drive-by. And one of the things that prosecutors wanted to do was hear from other people who were at the recording studio that very night to try to pinpoint any issues, any conflict between Melly and Juvian Sack Chaser, as well as maybe any problems in Melly's alibi, namely that he wasn't in the car when the shooting went down. And an important witness was Travion Glass, because he testified that Melly changed his clothes from the time before the killings to when he saw him afterwards. Very suspicious there. So at one point, Glass was being questioned under cross-examination by Melly's attorney, and clearly they wanted to establish, is he a reliable witness? But during his
Get 100
cross,
likes, I'll drop
Glass made a
5 more
comment
tonight.
at the end of his testimony that definitely lightened the mood a bit in what, of course, was a very serious case.
So you smoke a lot of marijuana, right? Possibly. You smoke it anytime you get a chance, I think is how you phrase it.
It's your answer, yeah.
That was your answer.
I smoke when I smoke.
You smoke when you smoke?
Yeah.
And when's that?
When I smoke.
And when was that?
When I smoke.
You didn't see any friction at the studio that night of any magnitude?
I did.
You did?
I didn't.
Okay, you did. Anyways, with respect to your daily marijuana regimen, did you smoke before you came here today?
I did not.
I have nothing. Thank you.
I should
I wonder if a lot of people thought, I can't blame them. Not easy facing cross-examination. Maybe that would help a little bit. Look, it was an interesting case to file, and it had an even more interesting verdict because the jury couldn't come to a unanimous decision on the double murder charges, so a mistrial was declared by the court, and a new trial for YNW Melly has been scheduled for October 2023. Okay, as we recap some of the funniest moments that we have seen in our trials, moving right along to the trial of the now infamous Alec Murdaugh. The once prominent South Carolina lawyer was accused of shooting to death his wife Maggie and son Paul at their country estate.
If you're new and you just came in the room, please make sure to smash the like button. Let's get to 100 likes tonight. That's our goal. 100 likes. When we get to 100 likes, I'll drop some more free memberships.
State back in 2021. Now, toward the end of this very lengthy trial, before the jury got the case, the judge ended up dismissing a juror. And there were reports that this juror might have had conversations about the case outside of the courthouse. Not allowed, clearly not allowed. So to be on the safe side, Judge Clifton Newman let her go, replaced her with an alternate juror. Now, she's not identified or on camera in the clip that we're about to play, but just listen carefully to the very interesting item that she brought to court with her.
And in fairness to all the parties involved, we're going to replace you with one of the other jurors. Have you brought everything that you have outside of, you left some stuff in there? What do you have in there?
A dozen eggs.
Say it again?
A dozen eggs.
A dozen eggs.
Yeah, one of the other jurors brought in eggs for everybody.
Oh, okay.
Eggs in my purse, they got water.
All right, well, you're gonna leave the eggs? You wanna leave the eggs or take the eggs? You're gonna take the eggs. So, Mr. Bailiff, can you retrieve from the jury room her dozen eggs, her purse, and what else? And a bottle of water. You can get those things from the jury room. So they're gonna get your things, and then once you're removed from the jury, you can't go back in the jury room. We'll have to tell them goodbye for you.
Does that I didn't get to watch a lot of the trial. Does anybody know why she got dismissed? Does anybody know why she got dismissed? If you can let me know in the chat, because I only caught like just recaps. I didn't get to watch the whole trial. Why did she get dismissed? Let me know in the chat there.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Ed, you can go. Thank you. We get a lot of interesting things, but now a dozen eggs. It's certainly pretty interesting.
Hey, jury service is a tough business. Maybe she thought she'd get hungry. Maybe cook up some eggs in the jury room for everybody during deliberations. That would be nice. I am thinking, though, don't you have to refrigerate eggs? Yeah, that's a bit concerning now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway,
Oh, she talked outside.
not
of
easy
court.
being a
Thank you,
juror.
Chica.
Not easy being dismissed after hearing all this evidence. and really not an easy case to hear. Really sad when you think about what happened here. And in the end, the jury that did stay on, the jury that did deliberate, they found Alec Murdaugh
Okay.
guilty of the murders of
Got
his
it.
wife
Thanks,
and son.
Hope.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
Sometimes it's the courtroom demonstrations that bring the levity to a trial. Let's go to California, where Robert Durst was at the center of one of the most complicated crime stories in years. So in 2021, he went on trial for the murder of his friend Susan Berman, who was found shot to death in her home back in 2000. Prosecutors allege that Robert Durst, the real estate heir, killed Berman so she wouldn't speak with police about what she perhaps knew regarding the disappearance of Durst's first wife.
If you're new and you just came in the chat, do me a favor, hit that like button. We would appreciate it. Our goal tonight is 100 likes. 100 likes. And then what I'm going to do when we get to 100 likes is I'll drop some free memberships in the chat. All right, let's keep watching this. This is fun. This is fun, right? It's a little different tonight. Get to relax a little bit on this Saturday night, have a few laughs. Good
Kathy
stuff.
Durst went missing in the 1980s. Not to mention that at one point in Durst's life, he shot and killed his neighbor Morris Black when he lived out in Texas. Durst actually went to trial back in the day for the murder of Black. He was acquitted of the murder, argued he acted in self-defense, but Durst pled guilty to tampering with evidence for chopping his body up. Stay with me because I know it's kind of hard to find humor in a case like this, but during his criminal trial,
I appreciate it.
in 2021, again for the murder of Susan Berman, a very frail and sick and wheelchair-bound Durst sat on the witness stand as his attorneys reenacted what Durst says happened between him and Morris Black inside that home. And in a moment of what is really dark
70
humor,
likes. I
Durst's
love it.
attorneys ended up on the floor during their reenactment, and the courtroom just erupted into laughter.
It's going to be great.
What happens next?
The gun went off.
What?
The gun went off. said
Where,
Mr.
where
Darrow.
was you and where was Morris Black when the gun went off?
Lying on the floor of the kitchen.
So you fell backwards?
Mr. Chesnoff has done his best Hollywood falling back. Like still grasping the gun, finger
20
on
years
the
ago in
trigger.
Galveston, I could get down.
And we'll stipulate that Mr. DeGuerin got down with him. Then he won't actually have to do it.
Where's the television camera for this?
This is my favorite part of the whole trial so far.
You're welcome, Nancy.
I know who to root
Appreciate you being here.
All right, Mr. Lewin, why don't you describe it? I can't see it.
So we've got Mr. Guerin playing Mr. Black. No, Bob, I'm sorry, Bob is on the right side. And they are both. Well, I describe it. Okay, I'm not sure that I want to.
You're welcome,
Glad
Heather.
you have a mask on.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
All right, so we're both on the floor. My left elbow's on the floor. My right hand's on the gun. Your right hand, Bob Durst's right hand is on the gun, on the top of the gun. Morris Black has got his finger on the trigger. Is this when the gun goes off? Bob?
Yes.
Can we add that at the time the gun is going off, both Mr. Durst and Mr. Black are flat on the floor?
That's what was being reenacted.
And would also be directly behind where.
Hey, Angela, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we turn these into some regular
Okay,
segments.
that's what they reenacted.
No.
I do know that on Wednesdays, I want to get back to my True Crime Across America series that I was doing. Those are really fun. And what we do is just highlight some cases that might not be a major case across America, but bring some highlights and just some awareness to some cases that are going on. You know, it might not be mainstream media worthy, but we touch on those. I definitely want to start doing that again. And maybe we do something like a lighter stream like this on Saturdays. These are fun. These are fun. Yeah, this is fun. Again, very, very serious nature, but we can have some laughs every once in a while. This poor guy.
Definitely a lighter moment. And when the judge asked Durst if the reenactment by his attorneys was accurate, Durst said, they are a full-service law firm. That is certainly true.
It's crazy.
Like I said, a moment of comedy in a very twisted and sad case. And in the end, the jury convicted Robert Durst of the murder of Susan Berman, and Durst died in prison shortly after. Well, we're going to finish up our conversation with Alex Jones.
Oh,
That's
boy.
right. The InfoWars founder and host
Hey, guys,
faced some huge
all those
lawsuits
frog
from
people.
families of victims of the Sandy
Frog people out there that did it, It's Alex Jones. It's the frog people.
Hook Elementary School shooting, as well as an FBI agent. You see, Jones repeatedly claimed on his broadcast that the shooting was fake, that it was staged, that it was a hoax, that the parents were crisis actors. So he was sued for various claims, including defamation. And Jones lost both lawsuits out in Texas and Connecticut through default judgments, meaning he refused to participate in court-ordered discovery during the case. You know, how each side is supposed to hand over the other side evidence? Well, Alex Jones, according to the court, really didn't do that. That's a big no-no. So the judges entered orders that he automatically lost these lawsuits. So now it was a question for the
It's
juries
all
in
the water,
Connecticut
guys.
and Texas.
Water.
How much would Alex Jones owe the plaintiffs in damages? How much would he have to pay up? What would his punishment be for losing? Now, I will tell you, again, very sad cases when you think about what happened here, right?
Here's the thing. Here's my take on Alex Jones. I'm like 50-50 on the dude. Okay. I gave him a lot of credit as the sense of like, he doesn't give a shit. He'll just speak up. And I do like the fact that he does push back against our governments and the way that our systems run. But he does say an awfully lot of wrong things and just bad things overall, the conspiracy shit. But some of the government stuff that he gets into and pushes back. And then we, come to find out months down, a year down the road, years down the road, a lot of the stuff that he said with our government ends up happening to be true. So, I know people might not agree with me on this, but that's kind of how I feel about it. I like people that stand up and push back against the system. I'm not a person that wants a lot of big government in my life. I've talked about this before. I probably land center right. I just don't like big government, and I like people that stand up because it should be about the people. It shouldn't be about government controlling our lives. I think there are some great aspects of government. There are some good programs in government that can help. I also think there's a ton of fucking programs that need to be overhauled. There's things that I don't understand in our government. And again, I'm getting a little political here, but there's things I don't understand in our government where we literally hand millions and millions and millions of dollars a day, billions of dollars, and B with a billion, to foreign countries to support their war, but we can't take care of our own veterans on the street. They get to sleep on sidewalks while we send our money over to fund a war. I don't get that. A war that has nothing to do with us. I just don't get that. That doesn't connect with me. It doesn't register. Also, we have a huge mental health crisis in this country. That money could be used to help save many, many people's lives that have mental illness. But we continue to fund foreign wars. We continue to stick our nose where it doesn't need to be. This money should be saved. Our vets never get taken care of. Our mental health crisis never gets taken care of. And the opioid crisis in this country is a fucking mess. That needs to stop. Also, we have a lot of problems with our immigration system that could use an overhaul. Let's face the reality, folks. We know what's going on down there. As much as every media outlet, right and left, want to try to control the narrative in this, just look at it in your eyes yourself. There's a big problem down there on our southern borders. I am all 100,000% for legal immigration, but we need to overhaul that system. In my view on it, it is not fair. It is not fair for the families that pay thousands and thousands of dollars to process their paperwork and stand in line for years to get themselves into this country to join their families, to get into this country and work and pay their taxes and be a productive citizen of our society. But you just literally can walk over, jump a fence or whatever you want, and you get everything. That's so unfair, and it's so unfair to the families because people that have worked hard and saved their money to process this paperwork and stand in line to reunite with their families I'm all for people coming here and bettering this country 1000%, but we got to fucking do something to fix this. And I don't know if it's ever going to be fixed. I don't know if it's ever going to be fixed, but I want people to be here with a great, I always say this, and that's why I hate people that shame America. They say America's a piece of shit. We're a piece of shit. If we're such the piece of shit, then why does everybody want to come here? You know why? Because we're the greatest country in the world. And I love being in America, and I love being American. And I love the freedom that I can get here on this platform with a microphone and speak like this to all of you. And we can gather in this community and speak freely and speak our minds and talk and not be shut down. I think America is the greatest country in the world, and there's many, many things that we need to fix. And those are only a few things that I talked about. That's just one thing I don't understand, is that all this money goes over to fight wars, but we never take care of anybody here, especially our veterans, mental health crisis, and people that have opiate addiction. I mean, let's face it, opiate addiction is killing thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans, and it's sad, but we ship money off to fight foreign wars. I don't get it. I don't get it. That money could be used for jobs programs. That money could be used to fix our infrastructure, like our highway systems, our bridges, our roads. We can use that money for better education, to build schools in areas that are not thriving or might not have the capabilities to do that. We can use that money to get into our cities that have issues with violence, and set up works programs, set up education centers, set up a means of hope for the people that are desolated in these areas in America. The problem and the reason that people turn to violence, and the problem that people turn to doing bad things, because there's no hope. There's no hope for those people. There's no end game. There's no traction. They don't see traction in their city. They don't see communities that are being built. They don't see houses that are coming in, new schools being built, works programs. They don't see that. So when you don't have any hope, look at like Gary, Indiana. It's awful there. And they don't have a budget. There's no money going into that city. And you go back in the 60s and 70s, that was one of the most flourishing areas in the United States. And they've pulled everything out. There's no education there. There's no jobs there anymore. All the factories, the steel factories left. So when you have no hope, you have no answer in that area, people just become on top of each other and start killing everybody, because it becomes like the survival of the fittest. Why not take that money and invest in that infrastructure? Give some people in that area some hope, give them a sense of community. It's just sad. It's really sad. And, I'm not going to fix it. Believe me, I don't think these stupid politicians are ever going to fix it. I say this, the most important elections, and everybody thinks that the president is the most important election. It's not. It's your community. Get out and look at the people that are running your communities. If you are not happy, then you need to vote for someone that will do the right things for your community. That's what I always say. You look at these areas. I'm using Gary as an example because it's just a desolated area, and these people don't care. These elected officials don't care. All they want to do is get into government, get in for themselves, get in for the exposure, and say, oh, I did something too, and they don't care. They don't care about those people, because if they cared, then things would change, right? When you show that you're caring about something, you would do something to change that process or the surroundings around the area. And there's no lift. You don't see it. And the thing that I find weird is that people just continue to vote these people in. And I think we need term limits in a lot of these elected official as well. I don't like the fact that someone can get in and sit in Congress for 50 years. That's insane. That is insane. And I don't get it. It's like the what do they call that? The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's why I always think it's funny when people like, well, I got to vote for a D or I got to vote for an R. Well, how about this? If your community is not changing and it's the same piece of shit that it's been, maybe you don't want to vote that guy back in, right? Maybe you should probably try these people over here. Maybe they'll make a difference. And then if they don't make a difference, find a candidate that will. So sorry, that was my long-winded political speech, but that's how I feel. It's how I feel. And maybe many of you in this audience feel that same way. And if you don't, hey, it's just my opinion. But I didn't want to get political, but I don't think that I was just overly crazy there at all. I think I brought up a lot of valid points. We need to fix America. We need to focus on people here. We need to again, our veterans, the opioid crisis. We need to fix the immigration system. And, there's infrastructure, schools, work. We need to do some things there to help. So anyway, let's get back to this.
Right.
Thank you.
But with Alex Jones in these courtrooms, there was a fair share of ridiculous moments in court. Like when the judge out in Texas, the Honorable Maya Gamble, said he needed to spit.
I lost a bunch of people. They didn't want to hear my political
was
rant.
it gum?
Spit your gum out, Mr. Jones.
It's not gum.
What is it? Because you're not allowed food or gum of any kind in the courtroom.
Thank you.
I had my tooth pulled a week and a half ago, and
Thank you.
I had some laws in there earlier, and it's been causing me to have some pain.
So you're chewing on your gauze?
Would you like me to show you?
No, I
Yeah,
just
here.
want you to answer my question.
No, I was massaging the hole in my mouth with my tongue. I'm sure right here.
I don't want to see
All right.
the inside of your mouth.
Oh no, there's no gum.
Thank you,
Oh.
Justin. I appreciate you.
Sit down.
You can't make this stuff up. I do want to highlight, though, one particularly light moment. I do have to give you a little bit of context here. So Norm Pattis was Alex Jones's attorney out in Connecticut. He was quite loud and vocal during the course of that trial. And
Thank
Judge
you, Lee. I
Barbara
appreciate
Bellis,
that.
who was the
I
judge
think
overseeing this case, she would get into
Honestly, I think everything that I said was a pretty neutral approach to everything. It's just I think it's things that are people recognizing that are wrong and things that need to be fixed. Things that need to be fixed. So, all right, let's keep playing through this. And again, if we can get to 100 likes tonight, that's our goal. 100 upvotes, that is our goal. So if you just came into the chat room and you're new here, please make sure to upvote. And what we'll do is when we get to 100, I'm going to drop some more memberships, some more free memberships for everybody.
these screaming matches with him, telling him not to interrupt and to quiet down.
He's not an expert, and so what one does isn't what we're
But
here to
that's-
show. We're here to show what he did.
Right, but
And the
that's a
purpose
different,
is being
no,
done.
excuse
Attorney
me.
Pattis, Attorney Pattis, how many?
Oh, by the way, we are so close to hitting 10,500. We only need 9 more subscribers. So maybe we'll hit that tonight. That'd be awesome.
Times do I have to say when I'm speaking, you stop?
I'm not gonna have the comments anymore. I'm not gonna have it. I'm not gonna have it. I'm
Do you
not gonna have
expect me
anybody-
to lay silently when they're directed at me, but inappropriately? Do you expect
That
me to
guy's
roll
hair is
over for
awful,
my
by the
client?
way.
That's not gonna happen.
Cut your hair, bro.
Okay, now with that in mind, Jones himself got on the stand, but he had trouble hearing Pattis's objections as he was being questioned by the plaintiff's attorney. So Judge Bellis ends up making requests that she never thought she would.
After Bill Oldenburg and after Judge Bellis, who's next? Objections.
I mean, I guess if somebody's on national TV, oh, I'm sorry.
Again, no, Mr. Thomas.
Oh, I remember this.
Again, no, we're objecting. And I sustained this to one, and you still answered.
Okay, I'm not hearing him.
Can you be louder? I never thought I would say this, Attorney Pattis.
Yes, Judge, I can be louder. How's that?
A little secret is I have serious hearing damage.
Okay, so.
And I need to get hearing aids soon, so,
So your client cannot hear. So
sorry. Seriously, I can't hear you anymore.
Yeah, the Jones trial's full of characters. And thanks to different lawsuits against Alex Jones, he's now been ordered to pay more than $1 billion for spreading lies and bizarre theories about what was a very real and serious and deadly tragedy. You know, looking back, you have to think that there is so much built up tension and pressure in these cases that these lighthearted moments they can be a good thing at times. Allows everybody just to exhale for a second.
Yep.
Courtrooms, they're filled with real people and real situations, and sometimes just laughter ensues. Who knows what unexpected, candid, and comical moments will happen next, but we will make sure to cover them for you here.
All right, good stuff there. We'll keep moving on. So we got the top, what do we got here? Top 7 heated moments between lawyers and judges. I love it. Let's play it.
Be in attendance due to a scheduling issue. Well, Mr. Sleeper let the judge know that he was.
Let me go back.
You need to sit down.
That was before the
Don't
defense
get
testified.
brazen with
Don't
me.
you get brazen with me.
You would definitely notice.
You need to sit down right now. You're out of line.
I like her.
In fact, you're excused. You need to go sit in the back with your
I'd let her yell at me like that anytime.
chief public defender.
There is nothing quite like seeing blow-ups between judges and attorneys in open court. And here at Law and Crime, we sure have seen our fair share. This is 7 of some of the most heated moments between judges and attorneys in recent trials. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
She resigned. Wow.
I've talked about the drama in a courtroom before. The subject matter,
Yeah,
the
put me in the naughty
defendants, the
corner.
witnesses, it's real life on display for you. But it is also a court of law. Not only do opposing sides battle it out, but there are also those times, those very tense times between the judge and the attorneys. And that is what I want to get into. 7 of some of the most heated moments between a judge and an attorney in our recent cases. I got to tell you, I don't remember in recent history maybe any more heated moment between a judge and an attorney
he was
than
great.
in the Parkland school shooter trial out of Florida. The penalty trial for the man who pleaded guilty to 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder for opening fire at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School back in 2018. After he pled guilty, all the jury had to decide was what should be his punishment, life in prison or the death penalty. And I want to be clear here. This was an exhausting trial. It was very emotionally taxing, especially with the victim impact statements from those who lost loved ones in the attack. It was honestly one of the toughest cases that I've covered so far here at Law and Crime. So you can imagine for those in the courtroom, this was not easy. And there was a point when defense
I am going to
counsel
see my crush.
objected to victim impact statements that were directed not necessarily towards their client, but in their view, more towards them and their own families. When they tried to bring this issue up to Judge Elizabeth Schur, let's just say it didn't go very well. And keep in mind, there was already a lot of built-up tension between the judge and defense counsel. Well, listen to a courtroom just devolve into chaos.
When these people are upset about specific things that have gone on from that table, like shooting the middle finger up at this court and laughing and joking, Miss McNeil, be quiet. When these people have sat in this courtroom and watched this behavior from that table, and they want to say that they're not happy about it, what is the problem?
Judge, I have no problem because I have thick skin. But once you bring in my children, I think that's highly improper.
I didn't even know you have children. I don't know what you're talking about. Your children? What about your children?
For them to comment on my children is highly improper. And for this court to allow that.
Yeah, Ron likes
Okay.
it.
is also
I don't remember any comments about any children. And if there was, it obviously didn't, it came and went without me noticing it.
Judge, I can assure you that if they were talking about your children, you would definitely notice it.
You need to sit down right now. You're out of line.
Please tell me more.
In fact, you're excused. You need to go sit in the back with your chief public
Tell me
defender.
more.
Mr. Weeks, please ask the lawyer from your office to go sit down and not say anything else. To try to threaten my children and bring up my children is inappropriate. Go to the back of the room now.
Yes.
That just violated about every rule of professional responsibility that I have never. If you're going to get up here and you're going to,
Judge, I asked you to go sidebar on this matter.
you sidebar or not, you don't have one of your assistant public defenders say something about my children.
Judge, that same venom that the court is expressing is the same venom that defense counsel had to sit through this entire morning when
She
their
brought
children
up her
were
children
being
multiple
referenced.
times during the trial. Nobody knows if I'm barren or not. They don't know
Judge,
about my children.
Judge.
Sit down. Sit down.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable to see. Wow. Now, Judge Elizabeth Schur took a lot of heat for her conduct during the course of this trial, and it wasn't just viewers who took notice. It was the Florida Supreme Court. You see, after the Judicial Qualifications Commission determined that Judge Schur's behavior seemed to create the impression that she was pro-prosecution, the Florida Supreme Court publicly reprimanded her as well. But Schur actually resigned, left the bench before this decision.
Wow.
And in the end, by the way, the jury recommended life in prison.
She knew probably because of her conduct, she probably was going to get disbarred or probably, knocked down or suspended. So, wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. Hey, by the way, if you're new coming in the chat, we get about 76 people watching right now. If you're new and you haven't hit that upvote button, please hit the upvote button. I would appreciate that. And when we get to 100 likes, that's our goal tonight. I'm going to throw out some free channel memberships tonight. I wonder what she's doing now. I wonder if she's like a consultant or something like that. I'd be curious to find out.
For the shooter, not the
Wrote a-
death penalty.
probably wrote a book.
It was a decision that came with its own set of controversy.
The work week can be stressful,
Oh.
and deciding what to eat.
Okay, I need to fast forward this because I'm not sponsored by this. But if that particular company wants to sponsor me, I would love that. All right, Kyle Rittenhouse, don't you get brazen with me.
House trial back in 2021. Very high profile trial of an 18-year-old out of Wisconsin who was charged with first-degree intentional homicide.
I'm gonna find her. Yeah,
reckless
that's not
homicide,
gonna be good.
attempted
It'll be
homicide,
harassment.
and reckless endangerment for opening fire during a night of civil unrest in Kenosha a year earlier.
Now.
This case raised important questions of self-defense after he
She's
shot
very-
and killed two men
she's
and
a
injured
very
a
beautiful
third.
woman,
Now, at one
I
point,
must say.
Kyle Rittenhouse took the stand to explain his actions. And of course, he was the subject of cross-examination by the prosecution, here prosecutor Mark Binger. And a couple of issues came up. One was,
Okay, let's do this. Let's vote a poll. I'm curious to see what everybody would say. All right, let's do this. How would you vote? All right, poll at the top.
was Binger questioning Rittenhouse
Curious
about his
to see
decision
what
to
the
remain
room would
silent
say.
after
How
his
would you
arrest.
vote in the Rittenhouse
Binger
trial?
also wanted to
Guilty,
point out that
not
there was
guilty?
other evidence, prior statements from Rittenhouse, showing that he wished he had his AR-15 to defend against looters who were ransacking properties. And this was a problematic line of questioning. And as you will hear, Judge Bruce Schrader
You see me
took
interviewing
issue
her.
with prosecutor Mark Binger's line of
Don't
questioning.
you get brazen
While
with
Binger
me.
is going to try to defend himself in this clip, you'll hear it. He said that the court left the door open to these inquiries. Judge
Oh,
Schrader
wow, okay.
admonished him quite
Good to know.
expressly.
First of all, Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. And the court
Great.
left the door open.
For me, not for you.
My understanding of
You
your...
should have come and asked. Why would you think that that made it okay for you without any advance notice to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives, I'll leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
May I respond?
Yes.
We filed another acts motion on this
guy's a
exact
jerk.
issue because, in my mind, and
I don't know
our
how he
office,
kept his job
it
after
is
this.
identical to what was going on the night of August 25th, in the sense that the defendant was using this exact same weapon. He was using it in a manner to try and protect property.
No, he wasn't.
Your Honor, with all due respect,
I'm not going to rehash the motion. That's absolutely untrue.
It
And
is-
there's no. Your arguments of record My comments are of record, and why I ruled as I did is of record. There's nothing that I heard in this trial to suggest anything's changed, even if you're correct in your assumption that you know more than I did at the time. You should have come to the court and say, I want to go into this. You know why it was excluded in the first place? Because it was propensity evidence. That is exactly what 90404 is designed to prevent. You're talking about his attitudes. His attitude is he wants to shoot people. Now, I've admitted that kind of evidence in other trials when it's been appropriate. I didn't admit it in this case because, to me, what I've heard in this trial, and by the way, Mr. Richards absolutely correctly points out that just hours ago, I said I had heard nothing in this trial to change any of my rulings. So why?
Testimony, Your Honor.
Pardon me?
That was before the
Don't
defense testimony.
get brazen with me.
Don't get brazen with me. Such good stuff.
You knew very well. You know very well that an attorney can't go into these types of areas when the judge has already ruled without asking outside the presence of the jury to do so. So don't give me that.
That was definitely a moment for sure. And this case would end in Kyle Rittenhouse's acquittal. Yeah, it turned out to be a case of a defendant taking the stand, and it seemed to pay off. All right, let's go now to Delaware County, Ohio. Back in August of 2022, a man named Matthew Moore was on trial for the murder of his wife, Emily Noble. Her body was discovered 4 months after she was reported missing in the woods. She was hanging from a tree by a USB cord. Prosecutors allege that Moore staged the scene to look like a suicide, but he was the killer. Defense counsel argued that it was possible that Noble had in fact killed herself. And as that back and forth was happening between both sides on the testimony and the evidence, this trial was notable for one particular outburst, one particular moment from the prosecutor. You see, Mark Sleeper and Melissa Schiffel were acting as prosecutors for the state. And on the 7th day of trial, the judge, Stephen Wolliver, wanted to move forward with proceedings, despite the fact that Schiffel wasn't there in the courtroom. Now, according to Sleeper, the court was informed 2 weeks earlier that Schiffel wouldn't be.
All right, real quick, just want to pull this up because someone asked in the chat room. I think it was Harlot. I'm sorry. Harlot asked, what was the charges? So Kyle Rittenhouse had first-degree murder, intentional homicide, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, first-degree reckless homicide, first-degree reckless endangered safety, and first-degree reckless endangered safety. That's some freaking pretty serious damn charges. And he was not guilty. All right. Let's keep playing here.
Be in attendance due to a scheduling issue. Well,
I'll be right back.
Mr. Sleeper let the
Right
judge know that he wasn't going to just let this happen.
I'm sorry, but I would object to going forward anyway right now without the elected county prosecutor who's on this case.
But she chose not to be here.
That's not accurate, Judge.
Okay, okay, your objection's noted.
We had a phone status conference 2 weeks ago in which Ms. Schiffel.
Your objection is noted. Okay?
I'm not going to participate in this proceeding without the elected county prosecutor. I think this is a sham that you're going forward. When the court was
You're going to sit here.
Unavailability,
You're going to sit here.
You were told about her unavailability and specifically told her on the phone not to cancel that appointment, that it wouldn't be a
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to be here for the decision, that's your business.
Well, Your Honor, I think this is outrageous. You're going forward without the prosecutor.
He left? What happened?
And he straight up left the court.
What happened? He had to go somewhere? He left? I'm going to rewind that. What the hell happened?
Well, wasn't there in the courtroom. Now, according to Sleeper, the court was informed 2 weeks earlier that Schiffel wouldn't be in attendance due to a scheduling issue. Well, Mr. Sleeper let the judge know that he wasn't going to just let this happen.
If you're new here in the chat, please make sure to give this an upvote. Once we get to 100 upvotes tonight, I will drop some free memberships in the chat. Our goal is 100 likes. 100 likes tonight. I would appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing here.
I'm sorry, but I would object to going forward anyway right now without the elected county prosecutor who's on this case.
But she chose not to be here.
That's not accurate, Judge.
Okay, okay, your objection's noted.
We had a phone status conference 2 weeks ago in which Ms. Schiffel.
Your objection is noted. Okay?
I'm not going to participate in this proceeding without the elected county prosecutor. I think this is a sham that you're going forward. When the court was put
You're
on
going to
notice
sit
of
here.
her unavailability,
You're going to sit here.
You were told about her unavailability and specifically told her on the phone not to cancel that appointment, that it wouldn't be a
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to be here for the decision, that's your business.
Is that the prosecution? Is that the prosecution? What the fuck, man? The prosecution walked out? Woo! He probably got reprimanded for that.
Your Honor, I think this is outrageous. You're going forward without the prosecutor.
What?
And he straight up left the courtroom, turned his back on the judge and everything. Pretty brazen.
That's
I don't think I've seen that too often. And by the way,
man.
an attorney getting away with it.
Yeah.
No repercussions for Sleeper as far as I saw. Now,
Wow.
without having had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Sleeper, who knows what really happened here. But I do know that this case wasn't the best for the prosecution because the jury, in the end, sided with the defense. That's right. Matthew Moore was acquitted of the murder of his wife, Emily Noble, and he was free to go.
Wow.
So I did title this episode Heated Moments Between a Judge and an Attorney. But can I be a little clever? Can I take a little poetic license with that? How about blow-ups between a judge and a guy who represented himself and acted as his
Derek
own counsel?
Brooks.
So he might not be
Darryl
an
Brooks.
attorney per
Sorry,
se,
Darryl
as
Brooks.
clearly demonstrated at this trial. But how could I talk about this topic without bringing up Darrell Brooks Jr.?
Darrell.
The man who went to trial out in Waukesha,
Darryl.
Wisconsin.
Say
He was
Darryl.
charged with 76 criminal counts for driving a red SUV into a group of holiday parade goers
Jesus.
back in November of 2021, killing 6 people, injuring dozens of others. And at one point, he
Darrell.
decided that he's going to represent
I said
himself.
Darryl.
It was bizarre, from the arguments he was making to his outbursts that got him kicked out of the courtroom.
This court ordered
What
Mr.
the
Brooks
hell,
be
man?
removed from the courtroom due to repeated interruptions and disruption with the court. He took his shirt off as well. I'm also told that he is threatening to throw and break items.
However, when he was in court and face-to-face with Judge Jennifer Darrow, that is when the fireworks happened.
If you're new here in the chat, please make sure to smash that upvote button. We're at 91 upvotes. I'm trying to get to 100 tonight. It would be awesome if we get to 100. Once we get to 100, I will drop 5 free memberships in the chat.
It threw people off a loop. They weren't ready for it. They scared of it. That's what it is. Come on, man.
Mr. Brooks.
Come on, man. Stop.
When you
Stop
are
it.
you aren't
Stop
even
it.
letting
You're a
me
public
ask the
servant, Your Honor.
questions.
I respect your courtroom. I
You
respect you. You're a public servant, though. Your job is to be the referee. I'm a grown man with grown kids. Ain't nobody gonna talk to me like that. Nobody. I don't have a problem with doing what you asked me to do, not tell me. Just like when I asked you about subject matter jurisdiction that you have yet to prove on the record. But somehow I'm being intentionally disruptive.
This guy's a jerk.
Come on, man. Stop. Just stop it. I don't care what you believe fully.
All right.
It's not a game.
We
I don't take
I
this
asked
as a game. That's what
Let me
nobody.
explain this to you
That's what
once
nobody.
again.
You don't gotta explain nothing to me.
You think she drank a lot of wine every time she went home after this trial? Oh my God. Do you think that she drank some wine when she got home every night after this day? Jeez.
Do you want
That's what you don't understand. You think
you
that
want
this
the
is a whole
opportunity
game
to
to me.
question?
This is not a game to me, Your Honor. Nothing
whole
about
bottle.
this is a joke.
I never
That's
said
what
it
y'all
was a
don't
joke.
understand.
I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy.
So that had
of
to be
the-
said. So it's the defendant.
That's not how it was said.
That was how I
completely
said. You want to run the
disagree.
record back?
Mr. Brooks.
So I'm the only one. I got one. I
Mr.
got one
Brooks.
ear that work, and I heard that.
This
Come on,
is
man.
to
Come on,
benefit
man.
you so
No,
that
it's
you
not.
understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit
witness
me, so let's
has
be clear
a
about
prior
that.
record.
Your Honor, when I leave the table, I'm away from the courtroom and I have to elevate my voice. This is the
So she had to
alleged
elevate her
record
voice
of Abel
just for
Lescott.
that.
Stop
Mega
talking.
pint of wine.
Like, I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I accept the value in return for value this document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next courtroom.
That's what you want to do anyway.
Had your kids,
It's not what
had
I
your
wanna do.
wife.
Do not interrupt Attorney Opper.
So can
Your
you
Honor,
tell,
I
can you
believe he
explain-
has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI second criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
All right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
Never never have I seen an attorney, doing quotes for all of our listeners, an attorney act so disrespectfully to a judge. It was just insane to watch this
guy's
go
a
down.
jerk.
But Judge Dar was able to keep this trial from completely derailing. And I should tell you, a lot of this went down outside the presence of the jury. They weren't in the court to see what Brooks was doing a lot of the time. But it didn't change the fact that Brooks was still making these nonsensical legal arguments in court and really didn't help his case, because
What
in
a
the
jerk.
end, he was convicted across the board and sentenced to 6 life sentences
See ya,
plus
buddy.
over 700 years in prison.
Goodbye.
Okay, as we continue on and talk more about these heated moments between judges and attorneys, let's talk right now about Young Thug's
All right.
RICO trial. So the Grammy Award-winning rapper, whose real name is Jeffrey Lamar Williams, is facing 8 criminal counts, including conspiracy to violate the state's RICO or racketeering law. This is part of a wide,
We need
sweeping
5
indictment
more
against him
likes
and
to
what was
get
originally
to
28 other
100.
defendants, although a number have taken plea deals. But prosecutors claim
Let's
that the
get
defendants
there.
are all part of this criminal enterprise. That
If you are new in the chat, make sure to subscribe and give this an upvote. Ooh, we're at 10,495. We may get to 10,500 tonight. That'd be awesome. When we started the podcast tonight, we're at 10,489. We can do it. Let's get a couple more upvotes, and then I'm going to drop some free memberships. 100 upvotes is our goal tonight. 100 upvotes. Let's
Williams
do
is
it.
at the head of it, that he co-founded a street
Thank
gang
you all
called
for being here on this
YSL, or
Saturday
Young
night.
Slime Life, back in 2012, and
A
that
little
has
bit,
caused
little
all of this
relaxing
chaos.
tonight.
We have people
Have a
charged
few
with murder,
laughs.
aggravated assault, robbery, theft, illegal firearms possession. And believe it or not, the jury has still not been selected at the time of this recording. Not surprising, considering that the actual trial could last 6 to 9 months, asking a lot of a jury in this case. But anyway, we have to talk about the drama happening between the attorneys and Judge Glanville overseeing the case. You see, he runs a very tight ship in his courtroom, and the attorneys will know that. Because if you don't follow court rules of professionalism and decorum, oh boy, he's going to let it be known. Like, for example, one of the defense attorneys in this case was held in contempt of court and was ordered to pay a fine and buy his colleagues lunch.
Next 2 things are just follow-ups on other business that we held a little earlier. Mr. Menendez, good morning, sir. You were supposed to buy lunch for your colleagues. Have you done that as of yet? You're supposed to have done that by March the 17th. Did you go to, I told you Jason's Deli? Did you satisfy that prong of your contempt yet?
I don't believe I was, Your Honor.
You were held in contempt, young man. And if you want to revisit that again, we can certainly open it up. I just want you to pick a date.
Yeah. Whatever dates you report about Masons. That works for me, Judge, and also I never saw the contempt order. I misinterpreted it.
Mr. Menendez, this was in satisfaction of me not sentencing you to jail for 20 days. So if that's the case, well, then I will revisit the basis for your contempt.
Or how about the time when Judge Glanville ordered another attorney to write an essay?
Crazy.
To the next matter, Mr. Johnson, how are we doing on that paper? I mean, the importance of professionalism. Yours is due by the 28th of April. I'm just checking, just clocking. So we on track? Well, your better half said she's not writing it for you either, because that wasn't offered to you. You already asked me, could I pay the $1,000? I told you no. Well, I know you would, but that's not what's on the table. 28, yes, at noon.
Oh, that's
or
great,
you do
Nancy.
20
Thank
days.
you.
It's 17-page paper on the importance of
See
professional.
that? We made a difference in someone's life tonight. Isn't that great? Look at that. We made a difference in someone's life. Nancy said, this live stream has been my saving grace tonight. So whatever you're dealing with, Nancy, hopefully it took you away from that for the last hour and a half that you may have been here. If everybody can just do me a favor, let's get to 100 likes, and we'll drop some free memberships. If you haven't liked the chat tonight, just give it some upvotes.
Is an illegal legal field and treating one's opponents with civility. Paper is to be published quality in APA format and at least 10 primary and 10 secondary sources.
By the way, this is the same judge who ordered a juror that left the country instead of reporting to jury duty to write a 30-page essay. So it makes you wonder what this trial will actually look like when it starts up. Okay, now I think it's pretty obvious when judges are ticked off, and many times that is directed towards the attorneys. Want a prime example? How about the Theodore Edgecombe case? This was the man on trial for first-degree intentional homicide out in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, for shooting to death Jason Clearman. It was a road rage incident gone bad, with Edgecombe claiming that Clearman called him the N-word and to get the F out of the road after he says their car clipped him while he was on his bicycle. An altercation ensued after Clearman got out of the car. Edgecombe shot him. It was a case of who was the aggressor, what happened here, was this homicide, was it self-defense? Well, there were a few times during the course of this case when Judge David Borowski got into these heated back and forth moments with Edgecombe's counsel. For example, here's what happened when the defense wanted to call a certain witness testifying about what would constitute a threat.
Mr. Browns has testified. He's actually been called by the state on numerous occasions, over several hundred homicide cases, and testified to what constitutes a threat.
Your Honor, I would like the defense to name me one case where Detective Burns has taken the stand and stated to a jury that he believes something was a threat to an individual. Name one.
Hang on. So would I.
I only see 99, guys.
And case number that occurred in Milwaukee County.
Need one
The
more.
state hasn't asked for
we got to 100.
any type of addendum to Mr. Brown's.
Counsel, I'm asking.
Do it.
I'm asking. Well, Mr. Browns is not here right now, but
hang on, counsel. You just represented that he's testified hundreds of times in this court.
Let's celebrate. Incoming. We're gonna have some new members. Thank you. We got it. Little Love, Laylo, Stacy. Who else? Mimi, Kathy, all welcome to the memberships. And again, that's one free month on me. That's a $5 gift to all those new 5 people in the chat. And at the end of your month, you can always re-up it. You don't have to do $5. I would appreciate if you just do the $1.99. That helps push this channel with the channel members, and it gives you access to all my members only streams. We did a phenomenal 3-hour one last night. It was so much fun. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Me, this court means me. I don't care what happens in front of other judges. I don't care what happens down the hall. I'm presiding over this case. I will make the rulings. So as far as I'm aware, he's never testified in front of me. And I don't recall ever hearing testimony along the lines of what you just indicated. So unless you have a case number that I can look up in Milwaukee County, but particularly one that was in front of this judge, then forget it. You guys cannot just make blanket allegations from the defense without supporting it. You didn't support it in writing, and now it's not being supported on the record. That was a valid request. Name a case now, or we're moving on. Mr. Burns can testify to the cases that he testified in. Name a case now. We don't have those information. I mean, he's testified in several cases.
If you didn't get a membership, you can go over there and just click the join button. You can just join. It's $1.99. It helps the channel on a monthly basis. It keeps this channel rolling. It allows me to do these live streams. There are expenses that do go with this channel. And I would appreciate it. Absolutely. All right. We'll keep playing through here.
Counsel. He's done it with other judges. Argument does not work with me. Mr. Huebner knows that. Mr. Ahmad should know that. I
have a good night, Sam. Thank you.
Care what other judges have ruled. Period.
Yeah. And then there was the time when defense counsel was questioning a member of law enforcement about whether anything was moved from the crime scene that would maybe tell a different story of what went down. This happened during the actual trial.
You don't know if other items have been moved from one place and put in another place.
Objection, Your Honor. There is absolutely no evidence that anything was moved.
That's right. There's no evidence of that. Don't imply something, counsel, that there is no evidence of. None. There's been no evidence introduced in this case by any witness that is even close to that. That assumes facts, not in evidence. Sustained. Move on to a relevant question. Don't imply things that have not occurred and are not in evidence. Move on.
Whew. Felt particularly harsh, right? Well, I'll tell you, Judge Borowski received his fair share of criticism. Community activists wanted him removed from the case after they felt he made rulings that showed a bias towards the defense, including allowing the word victim to be used to describe Clearman. But he remained on the case. The jury ultimately convicted Edgecombe of the lesser charge of first-degree reckless homicide, and he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. All right, we got to go to our final one. Some more heated moments between judge and attorney can be found in none other than the Alex Jones trial. So the InfoWars founder and host was in a very tough legal situation. He was sued by the families of those who lost loved ones in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting, as well as a former FBI agent.
I'm going to skip this because we've kind of seen this 3 times tonight. I'm going to go to the next video. We've seen some of the things in that video, but there's one particular one that I want to play, which was amazing. Let's play this one here. And then I have one more video to round out tonight. All right, let's play this. I love, and I wish I could know what happened overall in this. All right, let's play this.
Another issue.
This one.
Thank you. Ask the jury to come back in.
Right.
Do we have the gentleman who did the videoing?
I love.
Do we know?
They,
Will be available later, Your Honor. It's at the end of the day, and I'm trying to get him your back.
Okay. What was the threat? Did Mr. Mummert know about this threat?
Mr. Mummer knew about the threat.
And what was it? You can move closer if you want, or that's fine.
May I approach you?
You can come inside the well about where Mr. Mummert's at. What was the threat? From who to whom?
In Mr. Mummer's office building, there was a gentleman who was evidently looking for a vantage point on the floor below Mr. Mummert at a place where there's kids in school, where they organize the kids to go to school.
My office is one floor above the Early Learning Coalition on Winkler.
I love this. It just builds and builds and builds.
They called the police on him. The police arrived. He said that, or the woman he talked to, he told the woman that she wanted to know what he was doing. He said everybody will know in a couple of days. It's going to be all over the news. Evidently, it involved the building across the street as well. The sheriff's office, building across the street or across the parking lot, hired the sheriff's department to stay in the parking lot. I had a discussion with the sheriff. It was reported to the police. There was some concern. Actually, there was.
Who was it?
I don't remember his name. You remember his name?
Chris Swanson? Gentleman's.
So what would that have to do with videoing random people leaving my courtroom?
Well, Your Honor, we frequently video in the lobby to see witness reactions and things like that. And
Not that I'm aware of. This is the first I've ever had it happen, and I've been a judge for 12 years. At least it's the first time it's been reported to me, and my staff's pretty good.
Yeah. Many times, we're all putting a investigator out in the lobby, just like the state does with their investigators. They have them.
They don't videotape people.
No, they don't. And I understand the videotape.
Who's paying for this?
We are. I am. My office.
Mr. Mummert's not paying for it?
No. Anyway, Your Honor, but the point was we weren't sure what.
Well, I mean, before you said it was a threat, now it's reactions from people. I mean, which is it?
Well, no, in this particular case, the incident we're talking about, he was outside in the lobby with the TV cameras, and he was approached by one of the bailiffs and asked what he was doing there, and he said he was hired by me. The bailiff came to me and said he can't film there, and he said there was a court order, and I immediately shut it down and had him leave the building.
Well, it's general practice. I think there's actually signs that there's no video recording in this courthouse, period. It's not even my rule. It's a rule by the chief judge and for the whole building, which is why you have to get approval to videotape in here. And which is why I expel people from my courtroom who do it. I'm be blunt. This has a feel to it of, I can't put my thumb on it, but I wouldn't say nefarious, but it just doesn't smell right.
And again, Your Honor, absolutely no disrespect intended for the court.
Are you the investigator for any of the other collateral cases involved with this one that are in the civil division?
No. No, No, Your Honor, it's nothing like that.
Uh-oh, there's the face.
So my sincere apologies. If I thought for a moment that we were.
That's the face. Here it comes. Whoa.
Rules, I would not.
You need him for anything else in this case?
Right
I
here.
think you should go.
Thank you.
But that other gentleman, I need to talk to him. Make sure he still gets here, but I think you should leave for the rest of the proceedings in this case and any of the co-defendants. Anything further, State? Mr. Mummert? Mr. Mummert, you can let me know when that gentleman's here and I'll have a discussion with him as well. Thank you. For the record, Mr. Hunter's present,
he's
Mr.
back.
Mummert and Mr. Sievers. Are you the gentleman who was filming outside of my courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Come on up. You can stand over there by Mr. Mummert. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in this matter here today? You can put your hand down, sir. Please state your name for the record. Are you under the influence of any alcohol, narcotics, or drugs here today? Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental disorder that would make it difficult for you to understand why you're here today? Are you taking medication for that? Does it affect your ability to understand what we're talking about? Sir, why were you filming outside of my courtroom?
I was hired by Mr. Olson.
And what specifically did he hire you to do?
He was worried about, he said there's a shady character he was concerned about and had me monitoring the lobby of the courtroom. That's all I know. He's a friend of mine, so I decided to come out and help him out.
He give you the name of this person?
No, he didn't know the name of the guy. He was a tall gentleman, tall, skinny, elderly gentleman.
And did he, so he gave you a description?
Yes.
And did he point him out in my courtroom?
Not in the courtroom, but when we were in the lobby, he was out talking to me. He said that's the guy he was concerned about.
Well, I was under the impression you were filming more than one person coming out of my courtroom.
He also told me, he said, well, I'm there to film reactions from the witnesses leaving as well.
For what purpose?
I don't know. I didn't ask.
Did you talk to Mr. Olson today downstairs?
When I came in, yeah.
I saw him down there. I think I told him to leave. Is there anything else going on in this courthouse? If he's not involved in that, he needs to leave the building.
Oh,
how much did he pay you?
There's that face. He did it again for a second. Ready? Here it comes.
That's still to be determined.
Okay. Have you done this kind of work for him before outside of a courtroom?
Not for him, no.
Okay.
Here comes the face. Oh no.
You can see why I'm concerned. It has a almost.
So here's the thing, and I don't know if this judge has kids, but if he had kids, you know, when dad makes that face, there's gonna be some shit coming down. That is the face.
Air of witness intimidation about it.
I can see that.
You do understand that there are signs out front that say you're not allowed to videotape in this courthouse unless you have permission.
I was unaware of that, Your Honor.
Oh boy.
Have a good day.
Oh.
Nothing from the state, correct?
Nothing from the state.
Defense.
Just, Your Honor, that this was not at the request for recommendation of the defense.
Uh-oh.
Noted for the record.
Oh no.
You've paid Mr. Olson for services in this case?
The JAC has paid Mr. Olson.
That's going to be scrutinized. Okay. Anything else from the state?
Judge, only because I heard the court's order. I exchanged pleasantries with Mr. Olson on the first floor as I was coming up just now. And so I'm just informing
I'm just
the court.
surprised he's here. I told him to leave this floor in this courtroom, and if there's no other business that he's here for, I'm a little befuddled by why he would be here.
He was on the phone. I said hi. He said hi back, and I got on the elevator.
Okay. Anything else from the defense?
There you are.
We're in standby again. We'll go off the record. Mr. Olson.
Uh-oh.
Why were you having people taped outside of my courtroom the other day?
We were concerned about a threat that had been made a couple of days before Thanksgiving.
What would that have to do with taping people coming outside of my courtroom, including witnesses? You didn't have permission, did you?
Oh, gosh.
I'm not aware, Your Honor, that was not permissible. There was some suspicious activity.
Oh, there's the face.
Over there, I just asked my guy to court was.
Look at the face.
coming out of the building.
How many people did you record?
I don't know, Your Honor. I have not seen the video.
Oh, no.
Who's the gentleman who did it?
It is one of our technical guys.
He needs to be here by the end of the day.
And this is how it ends. I wish I freaking know. Did that guy get there and he questioned him? I can't find it. Ah, I want to see it. Damn.
State's ready.
He's mad.
Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're unaware of any of this, correct?
Yes, none of this was my directions.
Okay. Bring him out.
Juicy Smoulier. All right. One more video and we'll round this up. I appreciate everybody for hanging in tonight. I think this has been a very fun podcast on this Saturday night to kind of just sit back. Let us kind of relax a little bit. I know that we deal with very, very sensitive subjects and very serious matters here when we do these trials. But, there are funny moments in these trials. There are very serious moments. There are some moments that we can kind of go, oh my God, like, I can't believe that happened. And this is what makes courtroom drama great, because we all wait for these specific kinds of moments. There was tons of them in the O.J. Simpson trial. And there's tons of them in these trials that we watch. So it's good to kind of, let our hair down a little bit, I guess, have a little bit of a snicker and a laugh and a smile, and, enjoy some of this as well, too, in these serious matters. All right. I got one more video here. Top 5 defendants who took the stand and were acquitted of murder charges. All right, let's play this. Here we go.
You fired a shot from your pistol?
One shot.
Taking the stand. It's a decision every defendant has to make.
Before August 25th of 2020, had that gun ever left the state of Wisconsin?
No.
And for some defendants, it pays off. We take a look at those defendants who took the stand and were acquitted. I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to this special edition of Law and Crime Sidebar Podcast, where we are taking a look at those defendants who rolled the dice, took the stand, and were found not guilty. Now, testifying, as you know, can be a risky proposition. It gives you the opportunity, when your lawyer questions you, to tell your story. But then you open yourself up to a lot of scrutiny under cross-examination, and a prosecutor can basically ask you almost anything, depending on whether or not the judge found it admissible or not. So we are going to take a look at some of these people over the last year or so who've taken the stand and were acquitted. One of those people is Curtis Reeves. He was a retired police officer from Tampa, Florida, and he was charged with killing Chad Olson back in 2014. The two had a confrontation in a movie theater over Olson using his phone. Olson threw popcorn at Reeves, who then fired at Olson, killing him. Here's some of Curtis Reeves's testimony.
Curtis, let me ask you a question. Did you ever find the need, while you were a law enforcement officer at TPD, to have to use your weapon, fire your weapon?
No, sir.
In the line of duty?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever find the need, Curtis, when you were working for 12 years for Bush Entertainment with 30,000 people visiting that amusement park, to ever have to pull your weapon and use your weapon?
No, sir, I did not.
Now, it's important to point out that Curtis Reeves was a police officer for many, many years. He's retired. And so he's basically a professional witness. These police officers are trained about how they should testify and how to speak to a jury.
You fired a shot from your pistol?
One shot.
What happens after you fire that shot?
As soon as he turns away, then he's no longer a threat. So I lay down the pistol, and then I try to determine how bad I'm hurt. And then I realized that my glasses, the reason that everything is blurry is because my glasses were kind of sideways. I'm gonna call it askew. This left piece here was down on my cheek, and my glasses were kind of, I guess you could call it askew. That's when I realized that the reason everything was so blurry was because my glasses had been knocked off.
Well, they knocked.
You get punched in the face, right? He got punched in the face.
off or were they askew?
Askew.
Okay. Were those the glasses you were wearing?
Yes, sir.
And here's just a little bit of the cross-examination of Curtis Reeves.
Isn't it true that if an object, a non-deadly object, is thrown at you, thrown at anybody, you can't kill that person for throwing that object at them, correct?
If it's, that's kind of a hard question to answer because.
I'm going to give you an example. I'll give you an example. Okay. I'll give you an example. Someone throws a plastic water bottle at another person. It hits that person, falls to the ground. You can't kill that person for doing that, correct? That's the fact pattern. That's all it is. That's all I'm asking you.
That would, under those conditions, no, sir.
Curtis Reeves's attorneys argued that he acted in self-defense. And in Florida, they have really, really
Stand your
strong
ground.
self-defense laws. He was 73 years old at the time, and his defense attorneys argued that he felt threatened by Chad Olson,
Stand your
who
ground,
was
state.
a large man, just like Reeves was. The jury found Reeves not guilty of second-degree murder. Another case that we've covered here on Law and Crime, where a defendant was acquitted and
That
took
was up here in Massachusetts. That guy be in jail for the rest of his life.
the stand, Kyle Rittenhouse. That happened just over a year ago. He was 17 years old back in August of 2020 when he went to downtown Kenosha following unrest in the city after Jacob Blake was shot 7 times by Kenosha police. Rittenhouse and his best friend, Dominic Black, who lived in Kenosha, were guarding a car lot. Rittenhouse also said he was working as a medic that night. Rittenhouse was armed with an AR-15 that Black bought for him earlier that year, since Rittenhouse wasn't old enough to buy it for himself. Kyle Rittenhouse ended up shooting 3 people that night, killing 2 of them. They were Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber. Rittenhouse wounded a 3rd man. His name was Gage Grosskreutz, a man who tried to disarm him but was armed with a pistol. Rittenhouse claimed self-defense. He described his first encounter for the jury with a man named Joseph Rosenbaum, who was unarmed. That shooting started the entire chain of events that night.
When you step back from Mr. Zeminski, what's your plan?
My plan is to get out of that situation and go back north down Sheridan Road to where the car source lot number 2 was.
And did you get back? Were you able to go in a northerly direction?
I wasn't.
Describe what happens.
Once I take that step back, I look over my shoulder and Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side. And I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski. And there were there were 3 people right there.
There were a lot of people who saw Kyle Rittenhouse crying and felt really a lot of sympathy for him. And then there were a lot of other people who believed he was faking. The assistant district attorney prosecuting this case was Thomas Binger, and he questioned Kyle Rittenhouse for several hours. He portrayed Kyle Rittenhouse as a wannabe cop, a kid who was playing video games and came to Kenosha to stir up trouble.
As I'm running in that southwest direction, Mr. Rosenbaum throws, at the time, I know it's a bag now, but when he threw it at me, with the light, it looked silver and it looked like the chain when he threw it at me. And then I continue, I turn around for about a second while continuing to run, and I point my gun at Mr. Rosenbaum.
Does that stop him from chasing you?
It does not.
Okay. After you turn around and you had your hands up kind of in a low ready position?
Yes.
And you see Mr. Rosenbaum coming at you?
Yes.
And what do you do then?
After he throws the bag and he continues to run, he's gaining speed on me. A gunshot is fired from behind me, directly behind.
I'm gonna just listen. You know, I'm probably gonna be biased here in the room. I think what Rittenhouse did was not wrong. I think that he did fire in self-defense. If you go back and watch the video, and there's amazing breakdowns of the video, but you're a young man, you're running, and people are chasing you, and you get hit with a skateboard and fall to the ground. And just prior to that, I'm going to say, watch the video. You can hear gunshots going off before anybody hits him. I think there's 3 gunshots that go off. So you're hearing gunshots, you're running for your life, and there's a mob crowd coming after you, and someone hits you with a skateboard. You're now on the ground defending your life, and you have people chasing you with a gun. So I think everything he did was right. I think he did act in self-defense, and I think he feels bad about it. Obviously, he is very emotional about it. You can see it. There's going to be some people in the chat that agree with me, and some people that are not going to agree with me. But obviously, the preponderance of evidence showed that he was not guilty. And I think that it takes someone like this man that believes 100% that he wasn't guilty to get up on the stand as a young man, as a kid like this, and defend himself. I think it shows a lot. I'm sorry. Watch the video. There's an amazing breakdown of it online, and it's not even like a biased breakdown. It just shows you all of the facts that happen, all of the evidence and facts that happened that night. And if you just look through it with a different set of lenses, with no particular, Second Amendment, all that shit. I know people get very offended by that, guns and all that stuff. But if you just look at it in the sense of, what happened that night, leading up to, they show everything. It's like 45 minutes leading up to that. Rosenbaum was threatening Rittenhouse, saying that he was going to kill him. I mean, there's just so much that adds up to this whole thing. And the bottom line is this. You had a bunch of people that were a lot of emotions thrown around. At that point, we were all locked down in COVID. You had the George Floyd incident that happened. You had people that were locked up. You had people that were now coming out and protesting, literally burning neighborhoods to the ground. The police are doing nothing to control this. Now you have a bunch of adolescent kids, teenagers out there with guns. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? A lot of bad things happened. But I go back to this. If the state and the counties would have controlled all of this with the proper police proceedings, instead of backing up and going, we got to let them blow off steam. It's a protest. We got to let them do this. Well, instead of allowing everybody to burn their fucking communities down, because that doesn't make any sense either, the police should have stepped in and shut all this shit down. And if it was shut down, we wouldn't be at this trial, and the people that unfortunately lost their lives because of self-defense would still be alive. So that's how I feel. And again, people may not agree with me, but a lot of those people that got killed were felons, were pedophiles, were people that did ungodly acts to women. So maybe it was, I don't know. I don't know what you call it, but I know this stuff gets very touchy with people, but that's how I feel. It's how I feel. I'm sorry. I may offend you, but it's how I feel. Anyway, we'll keep rolling through here.
And I take a few steps, and that's when I turn around. And as I'm turning around, Mr. Rosenbaum is, I would say, from me to where the judge is, coming at me with his arms out in front of him. I remember his hand on the barrel of my gun.
And why didn't you just keep running?
When I was over there, there were about 100 people surrounding those cars, and there was no space for me to continue to run to.
Okay. And so you turned around?
Yes.
And as you see him lunging at you, what do you do?
I shoot him.
Now, I covered the deliberations in this case and the closing arguments, and I thought that Binger's closing argument was pretty good, although there was a lot of the testimony in the state's case.
The bottom line is this: if the police would have controlled the situation in and around that area, this all would have never happened. If they would have policed their communities instead of backing off and letting all these people burn everything to the ground, this would have never happened. You had no police presence. So like the biggest thing that Rittenhouse was there was, one, to be a medic, and two, to help save his friend's car dealership, because dealerships were getting burned to the ground because police were not enforcing anything. If there was a curfew that was in place, if the police would have stepped in and had a heavier presence in their community, but everybody was told to pull back. Everybody was told to not be there. And that's why all this shit happened, you know? And then it just got crazy with all these morons that came out. We're going to go ruin our cities. We're going to go ruin our neighborhoods. We're going to go up to the most expensive streets and break into all the retail business, because that's going to fucking solve everything, right? That's going to avenge everything that happened, you know, because when someone dies, we go out and kick Louis Vuitton in and take their bags. That makes a lot of sense. When someone dies, we go and burn down car dealerships. When someone dies, we go burn churches down in our community. That makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense, right? Makes a ton of sense. Stupid stuff.
That
Idiots.
really helped Kyle Rittenhouse,
Opportunists.
which was somewhat surprising. The jury deliberated for a little more than 3 days and found Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty of all charges that he faced. It was the week before Thanksgiving in 2021. Earlier this year, Danielle Redlick was tried for the murder of her husband and her former stepfather,
the top
one in
zone.
the
People
same,
died
Michael
in that
Redlick.
area.
Danielle claimed self-defense
There
after
was a young man that was shot and killed in there, and the police couldn't get in there to retrieve and help this guy get his body. This is crazy. The whole thing is just stupid.
she claimed Michael tried to hurt her during an argument at their home in January of 2019. This all happened in Florida.
How many times did you stab him?
Once.
After you stab him, do you take the knife with you or something else?
No,
What happens with the knife?
I don't know. I guess it dropped. I don't know.
You run away, you go to the bathroom.
Yes.
What do you do when you get to the bathroom?
I run into the bathroom and the bathroom door's broke. So I ran to the toilet closet and locked myself in there. I sat up against the toilet closet and was just hoping and praying he wasn't coming in there, but also thinking to myself, what am I going to do? This is crazy. I got to get out of here.
Why do you go to the bathroom instead of running out the door, something else?
I don't know. I guess I just always run there. It was just instinct. I don't know that I was completely thinking at that point. I thought he was coming after me.
And so do you hear him at some point?
Yes.
When is this? Is this right after you've gone into the bathroom?
Is that fake hair?
Yes.
Is that
What do you
Barney
hear?
fake hair?
I hear him yelling. I can't quite make out what he's saying. I heard my name, but I don't know what he's saying.
Prosecutors claimed that Danielle Redlick let Michael Redlick bleed to death and that she was doing things like
All right, let's not make this a race issue. I don't want any of that conversation in the chat. That's just crazy. So let's not get into that. All people do bad things. All people do good things. So let's just move on from that. I'm not going to have any of that chat in the chat room tonight. We're not going to make this a white or black issue. All people do things wrong. All people do things right. So
on her computer, looking at dating sites and things like that, and that she actually spent some time cleaning up the crime scene before a call to 911 was placed. So let's listen to a little bit of that cross-examination.
But you're not saying he didn't use an extraordinary amount of force to sort of push you back against that island, correct?
That's
He
fake hair.
absolutely used force to push my head back. Yes.
And it's in that moment that you take the knife and you jab it into his shoulder.
Right.
But that doesn't stop him. That doesn't
We base
dissuade him.
people on their character.
After he stabbed, yes, after he was.
You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. If you're a good person, you're a good person. So let's just look at it that way. All right. Let's not have any of that conversation in the chat. We'll just scrub that right out. Let's move on to the bun.
Stabbed.
Well, yesterday you said that he still kind of kept coming after he was stabbed.
I don't know that I said that.
Looks like a fake hair bun.
You said there wasn't an immediate reaction to him being stabbed and that he sort of continued to force himself on you.
When I grabbed the knife and I held it again toward him, he did not stop.
So he stops when he gets stabbed. That's your testimony today.
Yes, I mean, yes.
So you're able to go from sort of this position now more upright.
Yes.
You sort of feel the release of pressure off your back.
All right, let's take a vote.
Yes.
Take a
Feel
vote.
the release and
Hold
pressure
the top.
of him
Let's
off
see
of
it.
me.
You feel his hand, which had been
Hold
forced
the
down your
top.
face, come off, correct?
Yes.
And he is standing there and he begins to bleed. Yes?
I don't know. I ran.
Now, I remember when we were covering this case here on Law and Crime, and a lot of people felt that Danielle Redlick really held up pretty well on the stand, and they felt like the prosecutor who was questioning her was kind of rude to her and really beat up on her when she was claiming that she acted in self-defense. So maybe that played a part in her being acquitted, because she was acquitted of that murder charge, but she was also found guilty of cleaning up the crime scene. So she was sentenced to 1 year probation for that, along with time served. Another case we followed gavel to gavel here on Law and Crime was the
All right, let's close the poll down. Quick, get your vote in before I close this down. Get your vote in before I close it down, and I'm going to close the poll here. We'll move on to the next case, and we'll wrap up this podcast tonight. Quick, get your vote in. Quick. Get your vote. Vote at the top. Was the bun real or fake? I'll give you another minute. Get your vote in at the top. Harlot says definitely fake. All right, I'm going to end it. All right, the chat has spoken. Let's see. Bun, fake, 64%, real, 35%.
case of Brett Hankison. He was a former Louisville Metro police officer, and he was involved in that botched raid on the apartment of Breonna Taylor. Now, Taylor died after her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, and officers conducting the raid fired
I
at
remember
one
this
another.
case.
Kenneth Walker said he didn't realize that these were police officers executing a search warrant. He just heard noise and felt like somebody was breaking into the apartment. One of the officers, Sergeant John Mattingly, was wounded but thankfully survived. Hankison fired into the apartment through a sliding glass door because he believed he was trying to stop the threat. And he actually testified to this on the stand.
And was it your perception that that muzzle flash was coming from your brother officers?
No, sir.
What did you think?
I knew Sergeant, excuse me, I knew Sergeant Mattingly was down, and I knew they were trying to get to him. And it appeared to me that they were being executed with this rifle.
So what did you do?
I returned fire through, excuse me, through the sliding glass door. And that did not stop the threat.
What were you firing at?
The muzzle flashes that I could see in the apartment that were illuminated by that illuminated that sliding glass door.
Didn't her boyfriend shoot at cops? Didn't her boyfriend shoot at cops and they didn't know that she was in the home? Did I get that right? Because this was quite a while ago, right?
And did you continue firing? Do you know how many rounds you discharged?
At that time, no, sir.
And did you continue firing?
I fired, and then I assessed after firing through that sliding glass door. I assessed, and the firing continued.
So people got angry because he shot at cops and they shot into the, oh, it was the no-knock warrant thing. That's right. No-knock warrant, but the boyfriend shot at the cops. But did the cops identify themselves? Oh, wait, on a no knock, they just go in, right? So that was the big upheave over this. Is that right? Toilet's still going on about the bun. She says that you can buy the fake hair buns at Walgreens or Rite Aid. Yes, but he claimed they didn't announce themselves as cops, something that was disputed by the neighbor. No. So Ron says no. And so wait, did the police identify themselves? So no knock warrant, they just go in, right? That's a no knock warrant. Those were big in the 80s. I know that. Very big in the 80s to take down like crack cocaine and stuff like that. So he was wanted. Ron says no, that wasn't the issue. What was the issue, Ron? Because I forget about this one. Police pause. Let's see. So I'll just wait for everybody to chat a little bit here because I remember this, but I don't remember it. Now there's a Beyond Terra law. Okay. So maybe Ron knows. They went to the wrong apartment. Okay. Okay. So it was a no knock. They went to the wrong apartment. They busted in. Her boyfriend shoots and they return fire in killing her, correct? And then there was a dispute if they had identified themselves when they kicked the door, correct? Okay. Got it.
And what did you do?
I moved
Okay,
from my
thank you,
left to my right from the breezeway towards the bedroom window that was now being illuminated by that muzzle flash. Okay, it's been testified to numerous times that there was a drape.
Thank you,
or
Ron.
blinds there,
Appreciate
and
you.
That's accurate. But that was still
That's a
lighting
touchy,
up.
that's
that
a touchy
bedroom
subject,
window.
man.
Both bedroom windows were still being lit up. So in my mind, I perceived that threat, which I clearly
Boyfriend was
identified
one of
as a
them.
threat, an active threat. I thought that if
Oh,
I
wow,
could get
that's
to that
crazy.
bedroom window, I could put rounds through that bedroom window and stop the shooter, who, from the last place I had eyes on them, which was seconds before that.
How long did this go on, if you can estimate?
From the first shot,
Yes.
I would say
Did you fire the last shot?
after I shot return
Oh,
fire
thank you,
through
Lindy. I appreciate you.
that bedroom window,
I got my Misfits pin on.
the threat stopped.
Oh.
All firing ceased at that time. And in my mind, the threat was stopped or eliminated.
And are you able to estimate how long it was from the time the first shot that
Calvin
struck
Klein.
Sergeant Mattingly till your last shot?
I would say somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds.
Now, the position of the prosecution in this case was that Brett Hankison basically kind of freaked out and ran around the side of the apartment building and fired without shooting at a target. They claimed he didn't have any type of target. Meanwhile, he says that he saw some type of flash and was trying to stop the threat, not only to himself, but to his fellow officers. But on cross-examination, the prosecutor questioned him about a similar incident he was involved with earlier in his career.
Who is
If y'all just came into the chat, I appreciate it. Just smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. We got about 75 people in here right now. So I know we got some new peeps in here. Smash that like button. Thank you so much. I see the 111 upvotes. I appreciate that. We're so close to 10,500 subscribers. We're at 10,497. Maybe we can get there by the end of this night.
the author? Well, who's the memorandum written to?
It's written to me.
And at the time, what division were you a part of? It's underneath your name.
Sorry, Charlie District.
And who is the memorandum from?
Colonel Robert White.
And this is regarding letter of appreciation?
Yes, ma'am.
And go ahead and read the content of this memorandum.
Recently, I received a letter commending you for your professionalism and outstanding performance in your assistance in an incident occurring at 7919 Ivory Court.
I understand the subject of this location had barricaded himself in the house with several weapons and ammunition. In a timely fashion, you were able to set up an inner perimeter and make contact with the subject, as well as gather other critical information from the subject's family. Teamwork and patience from all units involved in this incident allowed for the situation to be resolved with the subject surrendering. I appreciate your willingness to put forth extra effort in doing your job. You have helped showcase the professionalism and dedication of the Louisville Metro Police Department.
So in this situation, the subject was barricaded in the house with several weapons and ammunition. And you made contact with the subject and the situation was resolved.
That's what the letter says, yes, ma'am.
That's what the letter says. Do you recall this incident?
I do not.
You do not.
It's important to point out that Brett Hankison was not charged with the death of Breonna Taylor. None of the officers were, and it wasn't Hankison's bullet or gun that fired the shot that killed Breonna Taylor. Hankison was acquitted of these 3 wanton endangerment charges, but he now faces a federal civil rights charge for firing into Breonna Taylor's apartment. And that's it for this edition of Law and
All right. I think this is going to end tonight's episode. I think this was really fun to kind of let ourselves down a little bit. We got a little bit more serious towards the end, but we started off with some funny courtroom moments. The deposition was great. Maybe this is something that we can do on upcoming Saturday nights, kind of let ourselves loose. I definitely want to get back to my True Crime Across America series, where I kind of highlight 3 different cases that might not have the major push in the media. So I definitely want to get back to doing that as well. I want to get back to doing videos as well too. So I'm trying to do that as much as I can. So tomorrow night, we're going to come back with Delphi. And then on Monday night, I want to get into Karen Reed, because that is a case that's going to be happening very close to my home. If you haven't heard of that case, we'll be explaining that and going through that on Monday night. So tomorrow night, a little bit more Delphi information. I already have the thumbnail up for that. And then on Monday, we'll get back and we'll do some Karen Reed. I want to do a deep dive into that case. This is very interesting. And that was the Massachusetts police officer that was killed and left for dead in a snowbank, and how did it happen? So we'll get into that. Listen, before everybody goes, I just want to make sure that we set this precedent in the chat. Okay. Now, listen, I understand that there are going to be some cases that become very sensitive, and in the media out there, there may be some cases that race is talked about or race is involved in those specific cases. Now, in some certain instances, that may be a fact, that may be the strongest point in that case, but I want to make sure that we set a goal or just set a standard here in this chat. Okay, let's keep that conversation out of the chat. There are good and bad people of all walks of life and races. We judge people here at LTL on people's character. If you are a piece of crap, then you're a piece of crap. If you are a good person, then you're a good person. So that's how I look at people, and that's how we should all look at people in this chat as well too. If you commit crime and there is a fact and there are facts that show that you committed the crime, then you should go to jail and serve your time. If you don't commit the crime and you didn't commit the crime and you're being you're on trial for it, and evidence shows that you didn't do that crime, then you should be acquitted. And that's why I want to make sure that we set that standard here, that there's not any of that conversation going forward, because we have people that come to LTL podcast from all walks of life, creeds, backgrounds, religions, and stuff like that. So this is a open platform to all. We want to make sure that everybody is all welcomed here. We can express our opinions and our ideas in different language. And we want to make sure that we keep a clean chat here, because I want people to come back here and feel comfortable in this chat. And believe me, there are going to be very controversial subjects that we get into. I spoke a little bit of political stuff tonight, and you may not agree with that, but we can look at all those things, through the lens of something else than color, because bottom line, it comes down to, if you're a piece of crap, you're a piece of crap. You're a good person, you're a good person. So I wanted to end the podcast with that tonight. And I hope that you all come back to LTL. I appreciate all your memberships, all your subscriptions, all your views, likes, comments, being here in the live chat, because that's the most important thing here. So I will leave you with that. I'll let you all digest on that, and hopefully we see you on the next episode. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you all, and we'll all talk soon. I'll see you tomorrow night at 8:15. Bye, ladies and germs. I got to get my outro. See ya.